Welcome to 5 Minutes of Faith, brought to you by Believers Ministry, where we're reaching the community with the love of Christ, one person, one family at a time. Join us as we are taking excerpts from our pastor's recent sermon. It's going to be about 5 minutes.
The title of today's message is God is able to deliver you. Our lesson text will be taken from Daniel, the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 30, but we'll focus on verses 16 through 18 from the New International Version. Many times, we know that God is able to deliver someone else. But when it comes to us believing that God is able to deliver us, we sometimes have a hard time believing that. But we must come to the place where we believe that God is able to deliver us. And make that personal to you today. Say to yourself, God is able to deliver me. And I will say that God is able to deliver you. Today we're going to revisit a very familiar story that most of us heard as children, and that's about the 3 Hebrew children who were renamed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We know that they were thrown in the fiery furnace because they would not serve the king's gods or bow to the golden image. Their first allegiance was to God. They served God with their whole heart. They believed that God was able to deliver them. But they said, but even if he does not deliver us, we want you to know, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Their courageous faith and commitment to God is a challenge to us as born-again believers, not to compromise our faith and our testimony of Jesus Christ, even though it may mean a fiery furnace testing for us. We must believe that God is able to deliver us from our fiery furnace of testing, just like he did for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. After King Nebuchadnezzar told Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that if they didn't fall down and worship the golden image, that they would be thrown immediately into a fiery furnace. The king said in verse 15, then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand? They answered the king, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the fiery furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. In other words, we don't need to defend ourselves because God is our defense. God is able to deliver us. But even if he does not, we want you to know, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up. And that's some commitment. Notice the first thing they said to the king was, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. They knew that God was their defense. And we got to know that too. When we are taking a stand for God, God is our defense. Yes. We do not have to defend ourselves when we are taking a stand for the Lord. God will deliver us. Amen. So in those times, we must not take things in our own hands. We must depend on God to fight our battles. Let God be our defense. We must know, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that the God we serve is able to deliver us. The question is, where is your commitment? Who or what are you committed to? Are you sold out to Jesus? Are you serving God with your whole heart? Not half-stepping, not lackadaisical, not lip service, not a fair weather saint. When the heat is on, do you still serve God? Where is your commitment? We must be totally committed to God. The question is, are you totally committed to God? And are you sold out to Jesus? We must continue to trust God in the midst of our fiery furnace. Stay focused on the promises of God and know that God is able to bring you out. All right. Stay committed to God. God is our divine caretaker in whom we find rest when the heat is on. So do not deny your faith in God. God is able to deliver you. Let's give his name praise. Glory to God.
We trust that the word has encouraged you, has impacted your life, and we'd like to extend a cordial invitation to come out and join us in service. Our address is 465 Waterbury Court, Suite E, Gahanna, Ohio, 43230.